The day you stop caring is the day your real life begins. It sounds wrong at first, almost dangerous, because from a young age you were taught to care about everything. What people think, how you look, what you say, how you are judged. But here is the truth most people never realize. Caring too much is slowly controlling your life. It is shaping your decisions, limiting your voice, and quietly stealing your freedom. Not caring feels like a bad thing. It sounds like you are becoming careless or cold, but that is not what this is about. This is about something deeper, something most people spend their entire lives chasing without even knowing it. Freedom from constant pressure. Freedom from invisible expectations, freedom from living inside other people's opinions. And the surprising part is, very few people ever reach this point. Not because it is hard, but because they never question the need to care so much in the first place. Every day, small moments slip by. You stop yourself from speaking. You rethink your choices. You adjust your behavior just to fit in. These moments feel normal, but over time, they build a life that does not feel like yours anymore. And here is something most people do not talk about. The more you try to please everyone, the less people actually respect you. The more you chase approval, the more it moves away from you. It is a quiet trap, and almost everyone is stuck in it. In this video, you will learn why caring too much is holding you back in ways you never noticed. You will understand what it really means to stop caring without becoming a bad person. You will discover the hidden reason why people who care less often seem more confident, more successful, and more at peace. And most importantly, you will learn how a simple shift in your mindset can change the way you live, think, and feel every single day. Stay until the end, because this is not just about changing your thoughts, it is about changing your life. There is a moment, a turning point that most people miss. But once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And that is where everything begins to change. Welcome to the channel where we break down powerful ideas that can transform your mindset and your life. If you are ready to take control, make sure you subscribe and be part of this journey. It starts quietly, not with a big mistake, not with failure, but with a simple thought: what will they think? That one question begins to follow you everywhere. It shows up before you speak, before you act, even before you decide who you want to be. And slowly, without noticing, your mind becomes crowded. You think too much about every little thing, every word, every move, every reaction. Overthinking becomes your normal. You replay conversations again and again, searching for something you might have said wrong. A simple moment turns into hours of mental noise. You analyze your tone, your expressions, your choices. Even silence starts to feel like a mistake. And no matter how much you think, it never feels enough. There is always something else to fix, something else to worry about. Then comes the fear of judgment. It holds you back in ways that feel invisible. You hesitate before posting something online, reading it 10 times, then deleting it anyway. You stop yourself from sharing ideas because they might sound stupid. You hide parts of your personality just to avoid standing out too much. It feels safer that way, quieter, less risky. And slowly, your life starts to shift. Not in a big, obvious way, but in small decisions. You say yes when you want to say no. You agree when you actually disagree. You follow paths that feel accepted instead of paths that feel right. It becomes easier to fit in than to be real. At some point, without realizing it, you are no longer making choices for yourself. You are adjusting, filtering, and editing your life based on what others might think. You are not living your life. You are managing other people's opinions. Then something shifts, not all at once, but slowly, like a quiet realization that begins to settle in your mind. The truth is simple, but it feels almost unbelievable at first. People are not thinking about you as much as you think they are. While you are busy replaying your words, analyzing your actions, and worrying about how you appeared, most people have already moved on. They are caught up in their own thoughts, their own worries, their own lives. It feels like everyone is watching, judging, and noticing every small detail, but that feeling is an illusion, a powerful one, because from the outside it looks like people are paying attention, but on the inside they are doing the same thing you are doing, thinking about themselves, their mistakes, their problems, their image. In a strange way, Everyone is too busy worrying about their own lives to spend much time thinking about yours. This realization begins to change something. The pressure starts to fade. The need to be perfect, to be liked, to be approved of, it slowly loses its grip. Because if people are not focused on you the way you thought, then who are you trying so hard to impress? And this is where a new idea starts to form. Caring less does not mean you stop being a good person. It does not mean you become rude, distant, or selfish. It means you stop giving power to things that do not deserve it. It means you stop letting imagined judgment control real decisions. Caring less is not being careless. It is being free. Free from constant pressure, free from overthinking every move, free from the invisible weight that has been holding you back for so long. There is a common misunderstanding that stopping caring means becoming cold or distant, that you stop being kind, or that you no longer respect others. But that is not what this is about. This is not about turning your back on people or acting like nothing matters. It is about changing what you choose to give your energy to. It is about being more intentional, not less human. Right now, too much of your energy is going in the wrong direction. You care about opinions that do not add anything to your life, random judgments from people who do not understand you, passing comments that should mean nothing, yet somehow stay in your mind for hours. You look for validation, waiting for approval before you feel confident in your own choices, and perfection becomes a constant pressure, making even simple actions feel heavy and stressful. This constant need to be accepted and approved slowly drains you. It makes you question yourself more than you trust yourself. It keeps you stuck, waiting for the right moment, the right reaction, the right level of approval that never fully comes. Shifting this does not mean you stop caring completely. It means you start choosing better. You begin to care about your peace instead of constant noise. You protect your mind from unnecessary stress. You allow yourself to step back from things that disturb your balance. You start caring about your growth, about becoming better, not perfect, about learning, improving, and moving forward without needing everyone to agree with you. And most importantly, you begin to value your time. You stop wasting it on overthinking, on trying to please everyone, on chasing approval that does not last. Your energy becomes limited, focused, and clear. At first, it does not feel harmful. Caring feels like the right thing to do. It feels responsible, thoughtful, even necessary. But over time, it starts to take something from you. Slowly, quietly, without making noise, you begin to feel tired even when you have done nothing physically exhausting. That is emotional exhaustion, the kind that comes from thinking too much, feeling too much, and carrying things that were never yours to carry. Your mind does not get a break. It keeps running, moving from one thought to another, trying to control how everything is perceived. Small situations turn into big concerns. Simple interactions feel heavy, and without realizing it, your body starts to respond. Anxiety builds. Stress becomes constant. It is no longer just in your thoughts. It starts to show in how you feel every day. At the same time, something deeper begins to fade. Your sense of self starts to blur. You adjust so often to fit expectations that you forget what you actually want. Your choices are no longer clear. Your voice becomes quieter. You begin to question your own opinions, your own preferences, even your own direction. And while all of this is happening, life keeps moving. Opportunities appear, but you hesitate, you overthink, you wait too long, you hold back because of what someone might say or think. And those moments pass, not because you were not capable, but because you were too focused on everything else. The more you care about everything, the less control you have over your own life. And then one day something inside you shifts. Not loudly, not all at once, but in a quiet, undeniable way. You get tired. Tired of thinking so much, tired of holding back, tired of carrying the weight of expectations that never seem to end. It is not just physical tiredness, it is deeper than that. It is mental, emotional, a kind of exhaustion that makes you pause and question everything. You start to notice the pattern. No matter how much you try, it is never enough. There is always someone who disagrees, someone who judges, someone who does not understand. You change yourself to fit one person, and another still finds something wrong. It becomes clear, almost painfully clear, that pleasing everyone is not just difficult, it is impossible. At the same time, another realization begins to settle in. Time is moving, days are passing, moments are slipping away while you are stuck in your own head, trying to manage opinions that keep changing. You begin to see how much energy has been spent on things that did not truly matter. How many chances were missed? How many times you stayed silent when you wanted to speak? There is a pause, a moment where everything feels still. And in that moment, something clicks. You stop chasing approval, not because you suddenly become fearless, but because you simply cannot keep living like this anymore. The weight becomes too much to carry. And that is the day everything changes. At first, the change feels unfamiliar, almost uncomfortable. You are used to filtering everything, holding back, thinking twice before every move. But when you begin to let go, even slightly, something starts to open up inside you. The constant noise in your mind begins to quiet down. Decisions feel simpler. You are no longer stuck between what you want and what others might think. Confidence does not arrive all at once. It builds slowly, in small moments, in the way you speak without overthinking every word, in the way you make choices without needing approval first. You start trusting yourself a little more each day. Not because you know everything, but because you are no longer afraid of being wrong. You begin to take risks that once felt impossible. You share your thoughts without rewriting them in your head. You try things without needing guarantees. There is a sense of movement now, a feeling that you are finally stepping forward instead of standing still. Even mistakes start to feel different. They are no longer something to fear, but something to learn from. Your voice changes too. You speak more honestly. You say what you actually mean instead of what sounds acceptable. Conversations feel real, not rehearsed. You stop pretending, stop adjusting, stop hiding parts of yourself just to fit into someone else's expectations. And the weight you carried for so long starts to lift. You feel lighter, clearer, more present. You stop chasing approval. You stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. You finally breathe. Change does not come from one big decision. It starts in small, almost invisible moments, the kind you usually ignore, the kind where you pause for a second and choose differently. That pause becomes powerful. Instead of immediately looking for approval, you stop. You sit with your own opinion first. You give yourself a chance to decide what feels right before asking anyone else. In those moments, a simple question begins to guide you. Does this really matter in 5 years? Most of the time, the answer is no. The fear, the doubt, the pressure, it all starts to lose its intensity. What once felt huge begins to feel small. This question helps you separate what is important from what is just noise. Another shift happens in your responses. You start saying no, not aggressively, not with anger, but with clarity, without guilt, without long explanations. At first, it feels uncomfortable. You might feel like you are disappointing people, but over time, you realize something important. Every time you say yes to something you do not want, you are saying no to yourself. Overthinking also begins to loosen its grip. Not because your thoughts disappear, but because you stop feeding them. You notice when your mind starts to spiral, and instead of following every thought, you step back. You let some things pass without needing to solve them. Not every thought deserves your attention. These changes are small, but they build on each other. One decision leads to another. One moment of clarity creates space for the next. Freedom does not arrive all at once. It grows slowly through choices that seem simple but carry real weight. Freedom starts with small decisions. There comes a moment where everything becomes clear in a different way, not through logic, but through feeling. You start to see your life from a distance, the choices you made, the times you held back, the version of yourself you created just to be accepted. And a quiet truth begins to rise to the surface. You were not born to be liked by everyone. For so long, that was the goal. To fit in, to be approved of, to avoid rejection at all costs. But in chasing that, you slowly moved away from who you really are. You adjusted your voice. You changed your behavior. You hid parts of yourself that did not match what others expected. And without realizing it, you started living a life that felt controlled, limited, and heavy. But then something shifts. You begin to see another version of life, one where you are not constantly checking yourself, one where your decisions come from within, not from outside pressure. You feel the difference. Before, everything felt restricted, like you had to stay within certain lines. Now, there is space, there is movement, there is a sense of direction that finally feels like your own, and the truth becomes impossible to ignore. You were born to live your life, not a filtered version of it, not a version designed to please everyone around you, but something real, something honest, something that belongs to you. For the first time, you see it clearly. The limits were never as strong as they felt. The fear was louder than reality. The judgment you worried about was never as constant as you imagined. The cage was never locked. You just never tried to leave. And in the end, it all comes back to one simple idea. The day you stop caring is the day you start living. Not in a loud, dramatic way, but in a quiet, powerful shift that changes how you see everything. The pressure fades, the constant need to prove yourself begins to disappear. And for the first time in a long time, life feels like something you are actually part of, not something you are trying to control. You move differently, you think differently. Situations that once felt overwhelming no longer carry the same weight. You stop giving importance to things that do not deserve your energy. You stop chasing reactions, approval, and validation that never truly satisfied you. There is a sense of calm that replaces the noise, a clarity that was always there but buried under too many thoughts. It does not mean life becomes perfect. Challenges still exist, people still have opinions, but they no longer define you. They no longer decide your actions or control your direction. You begin to stand on your own, guided by what feels right instead of what looks acceptable. And the most surprising part is how simple it really is. Nothing outside of you had to change. No special moment, no perfect timing, just a decision, a shift in what you choose to hold on to and what you finally let go of. Not careless, not cold, just free. And it starts now, not tomorrow, not someday, but in the small choices you make from this point forward. Start today. Start small. Everything you have heard is not just an idea, it is a choice that most people avoid without even realizing it. Staying stuck feels easier, caring too much feels normal, but deep down, you already know what it is costing you. Your peace, your time, your confidence, your life. Nothing changes until you decide it does. And that decision does not need to be big or dramatic. It begins the moment you stop giving your energy to things that do not deserve it. The moment you choose yourself, even in the smallest way, everything starts to shift. This is not about becoming someone new. It is about returning to who you were before the fear, before the pressure, before the constant need for approval. That version of you is still there waiting. And the path back is simpler than it seems. Less noise, less fear, less caring about what does not matter, more clarity, more control, more life. If this message connected with you, take a second to like this video. And if you want more content that helps you think differently and live better, make sure you subscribe to the channel and stay with us on this journey.